morning sun. How are you? Skies above. Gee, it's great to be alive and love.
And good morning. Sound check, testing. How we doing here? Let's let the audio catch up. Cheers. Do we have audio? Yes. Sounds good. Okay. Good evening, Mo. Buenas noches, senor. Okay. Where are we at? Episode 172, July 18th. Another beautiful Friday. So, ask questions. What are you doing? What are you working on? This is something I was playing with. It's a silly graphic. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it is kind of silly. It is a graphic provided by Sonic Wall purportedly showing some type of representation of cyber attacks or attempted attacks, something like that. So kind of interesting, flashy, looks like war games. So there you go. That was fun. And let's see if I did this right. I did not do it right. Okay, let's go back to our cyber attack graphic and let me try and deal with this because it is a pile of photos. So, how has your week been going? How's your week? How was your productivity? Sorry, let me do this. Oops. Float, float. Yeah, that's what happens when I get fancy and shouldn't have fired my production assistant. Okay, let's give this a try one more time. A little better. Okay, so it wasn't really the weekend. It's been a week or two, 4th of July, holidays. I've been busy, I've been traveling, so a lot of catch up. And so last week I drove to Utah to visit our Park City office, and it is roughly a 700-mile drive. It can be done in one day, but it is punishing. So I spread it out over 2 days and stop in Vegas on my way up. And that's kind of the California to Vegas stretch. It is pretty boring. Bare desert. It looks nice once you get into Utah, though. And once we arrived in Utah, we met up with the Park City and Heber crew, and we had dinner. And Roger and Zandra and Tanya and David and my daughter Sarah. So we had a nice dinner there. And I promptly got to work on home improvement projects. And some of you may be familiar with the wonderful home design tactic of putting chandeliers and lights and windows up in very high, inaccessible places. Well, this chandelier is about 13 feet off the air, up in the air, something like that. And so one bulb was out, so I just replaced all the bulbs there while standing on a ladder. Thank you, David. And then above me on 16-foot ceilings is a smoke detector. It's a wired smoke detector, no less. So it's old, so I replaced it. And so being 16 feet up on a ladder and rewiring a wired smoke detector, let me tell you, that is sketchy. But I got it done. And then we headed to the Park City office, and right across the street from the office is a nice little drive-through coffee place. They have good coffees and drinks, and so my daughter and I went over there and had a coffee. So beautiful weather at the time, a little warm, but very beautiful out there. And on the list, coincidentally, the day before I drove up, the air conditioner at my Utah house died, stopped working. And so we were able to get someone to come out. And it turns out that the capacitor apparently fried, died, melted, leaked. And so the capacitor died, and that caused electrical strain on the system, which burnt wires and ruined the solenoid and contactors. So got all that replaced, got the wires replaced, and the unit was back up and running in 15 minutes. Guy was awesome. So that was great. And then the home improvement continues as I wanted to install a outside vent for the range hood above the stove. And if you're familiar with this, you can have a microwave above the stove or the range, and it just vents air if the fan is turned on back in the kitchen, which is just totally silly. So I had to figure out how to punch a hole through the side of the house and vent outward, which I did accomplish only after discovering that the wiring was horribly done behind the microwave. So I had to rewire the outlet, get that out of the way before I could do the vent. So more on that later. Fun times. So if you're a homeowner, you know, oh, this won't be too hard. And then there's dependency after dependency after dependency. You open the wall, you find all sorts of problems. You got to fix all those before you try to get to the problem that you're originally trying to do. And once again, there's the famous Malcolm in the Middle scene, which I mentioned before, where the father tries to just replace a light bulb. He can't find a light bulb, and he goes in the drawer to find a flashlight, and the drawer squeaks, and then he goes out to the car to go pick up a new bulb, and the belt is squeaking. So he never gets anything done by the end of the day because it is just problem after problem. So that is the view from our Park City office. When you're sitting at the office looking out the window, that's what it looks like. Not a bad view in summer or winter. So pretty good digs. Thank you, Tanya, for arranging that. So I went up there, worked from the office 2 days and did a little work, chatted with Tanya, and did a bunch of errands. And then this week we have had BC customer training, or Tanya has BC customer training, and we're working on a continued document capture implementation. A Business Central PTE got wrapped up, Power BI reports, and we are starting to learn Macorma Payment Hub, which is an ISV solution for Business Central. And on Monday, I was still up in Utah trying to finish up my projects, and after rewiring for the microwave, putting in a new outlet, I got on a ladder once again and installed the vent for the microwave exhaust, and that was only 10, 12 feet off the ground, and had to, if you've never tried to cut a 4.5-inch hole in stucco, it's interesting. I learned a lot, like buy once, cry once when it comes to hole saws. Spend the $60 or $80 on the nice carbide hole saw. Otherwise, you are absolutely wasting your money. So, yes, on my third hole saw, finally cut the hole, and I learned that carbide tipped hole saws do in fact cut quite nicely through stucco and even the chicken wire. So that went well, and after a couple hours of that struggle, I got the vent installed and caulked and screwed in with stainless steel screws after buying a hammer drill. It was an adventure, but success. Super clean, brand new outlet, brand new duct, all looking nice and clean. So I must say that turned out well. I don't know if I have anything on Tuesday. Oh, yes, I do. On Tuesday, we drove back home, another 700 miles from Utah, stopped in Vegas, and my daughter learned that she had been awarded the 2025 Tony Savage Business and Technology Scholarship. And this is sponsored by Q Associates, a Microsoft partner. And I got an email a month or two ago randomly about this. I said, hey, Sarah, why don't you apply for this since you're my cybersecurity intern? And lo and behold, she received the scholarship. So in Vegas, we stopped by a very nice restaurant called Ferraro's Ristorante, Italian fine dining. And we celebrated the receipt of her scholarship for her cybersecurity and information technology skills, interests. So that was really cool, very nice. And yeah, so we celebrated. Very cool. So she's going to continue to work for that and work on her cybersecurity internship. On the AI and LLM front, I have been seeing posts of people doing things like taking a Mac Mini or PCs or various local computers and setting them up to either run LLMs or run as agents for LLM, something to that effect. And so this popped in, and I see it making the rounds. And this guy apparently took a Mac Mini and gave Claude, I guess, free reign to do anything it wanted on the computer. So he called it Claude Pewter, and it runs 24/7, and it's allowed to do whatever it wants. It's in complete control of its computer. And I haven't seen what it is doing or what he's doing with it, but it's making the rounds. And I'm also interested in potentially hosting our own local LLM so that we can use a private LLM potentially to see if it can do what we want. I just don't know if we'll have the hardware to make that happen in Berlin. So another thing we're looking into is Copilot. We've had discussions about, the third-party note-taking things that you can invite to team meetings, and my concern is the privacy policies, the data retention, and there's some concerns around those things. So I'm recommending that we do not use those internally. And so the compromise would be Copilot, with the assumption that Microsoft Copilot, the Microsoft ecosystem in our Teams tenant, would perhaps have a better privacy policy, better information security. But the caveat is that you have to pay for it, which, the free products, if you don't know what the product is, you're the product. So if we're getting these free AI tools joining our meetings, then there's something going on there. So the more legitimate way, we speculate, is to pay. And I believe we have Business 365, Microsoft 365 Business Standard typically for our M365 subscriptions. And my understanding is we will therefore need to pay $30 per month per user. So not cheap, but not exorbitant. And if it provides value, it may be worthwhile. So we're looking into that. And then on Wednesday, more driving from Vegas to LA. Long drive. I was tired, exhausted when I got home. So got home, crashed, pretty much wrapped things up. Had an afternoon call, but that's about it. Anti-Siphon summer camp is next week. I was hoping to go to Maryland with my daughter to attend that, but flights were pretty expensive, hotel, and just the travel. And we just come back from Utah, so we were tired. So I will not be attending in person, but I do recommend it. And even if you cannot attend this one, Anti-Siphon Training regularly puts on the SOC Core Skills with John Strand. It's a great course. I highly recommend it. I've attended it once online, and I believe they'll be doing it again in October. And they also have an on-demand course that you can pay for. I think it's $250 or something like that. So I may do that with my daughter, so we can have a self-paced on-demand course where we don't have to travel. So highly recommended if you're interested in cybersecurity. And my upcoming events list is pretty short at this moment. So far, I only have Summit NA for conferences, and that is October 20th through 23rd in Orlando, summitna.com. And one topic that came up recently was an ISV. We encountered an error, strange error in an ISV, and their support recommended that we upgrade to the latest version because they believe this error was fixed in the latest release. So Ronald wasn't familiar with that particular task of upgrading to ISV. in App Source app in Business Central. So I showed him, so I thought I would share that. And it's relatively simple in concept, but depending on the ISV, it may be a little confusing. So you go to BC Admin Center, you click on the environment you want to upgrade. So you have to be within the environment, and then there's the apps button in the upper left. Once you click on the apps button, it will list all of the apps in that environment, including all the core Business Central Microsoft apps and any third parties. And you may see a link like that that says install update. Now, in the case of this particular ISV, they have like 6 or more apps, 6 or 8 apps that were listed from this company. And even though we're only using one of them, they have all sorts of dependent or library apps, and all of them listed updates. And so there's dependencies. So you may have to go in a particular order, or you may just update the one app and it'll say, hey, in order to update your one app, you must update all these others. And it's a single button click to update them all automatically. And then you'll see installing update. And then a couple minutes later, you should be good to go. And you can either choose to update immediately, or there was the option to update like at the next version upgrade of BC, something like that. I didn't read the full message, but you pretty much have 2 options. You trigger it to upgrade or update at the next BC upgrade, or you essentially schedule it to have a scheduled task for immediate upgrade, if that makes sense. So anyway, Ronald completed the upgrade, and I believe the error was not resolved, so he was working on that support ticket still. And Thursday, Jueves, my daughter and I had another hour call with 30-minute call with my Sonic Wall reseller, and she connected me to the Sonic Wall technical sales rep. Had another hour call with him, very, very helpful. And I got, I've already been using the Sonic Wall Cloud Secure Edge, and he helped me install the Sonic Wall Capture Client, which is uses the Sentinel-1 endpoint protection software, antivirus software. So it's essentially wrapped version of Sentinel-1, and it feeds up into the Sonic Wall Cloud reporting platform. So I now have a licensed version of Cloud Secure Edge, which is our VPN as a service through Sonic Wall. Highly recommend checking it out, or something equivalent. And we are now testing the Capture Client as our endpoint protection, plus kind of device management. So it's EDR essentially. So pretty interesting. We're learning about that. We did look into Microsoft's offer of Intune and Defender. Personally, I think it is absolutely horrible. So if you're a mid-market SMB, I do not think Microsoft Defender and Intune and Entra P1 is even remotely viable for 99% of my customers. And that includes Dynamics partners. Unless you have a dedicated IT staff and you have someone who is fully trained on how to deal with that absolute disaster of a user interface, oh my gosh, it is horrible to try and figure out. Sarah spent hours trying to figure it out. I looked at him like, you've got to be kidding me. Sonic Wall Cloud Secure Edge and Capture Client installed 5 minutes, you're up and ready. Like, no brainer, obvious user interface. It's intuitive. The configuration makes sense. The adoption it just shows up. Events start flowing. So much easier than the Microsoft stack. And if you think the Microsoft stack is good, you might want to look at third-party products. They're just vastly superior, in my humble opinion. So pulled out the whiteboard, and I discussed with my daughter how Cloud Secure Edge works, VPN as a service, where your endpoint, like my laptop, connects to Cloud Secure Edge, and then my Sonic Wall firewall connects to Cloud Secure Edge. And the Cloud Secure Edge SaaS service serves as a matchmaker to provide me with a private tunnel between those. And so my traffic VPNs through the cloud, through my firewall, and exits through my firewall. So it's essentially a VPN as a service. Um, and it also allows me access to my home office resources. So we are likely going to put a TZ firewall in our Park City office, and that will be our global cloud secure edge endpoint or firewall access point for accessing US resources. And we will be able to get rid of all of our VPN subscriptions that we're having to use when we're traveling because our clients do have conditional access. So we must connect from the US in order to connect to our Business Central clients, many of them. So that is our plan, if that made any sense whatsoever. And I mentioned we are working with McCorma to implement their payment hub product for Business Central. So just FYI, next Wednesday, July 23rd, for partners, McCorma is offering their partner sales and enablement training just to get you oriented on how to work with them, how to sell their product, how to use their portal, support tickets, I believe, like logistical things. So we're going to attend that on Wednesday to get up to speed on working with them. And then on Monday, the 28th, we are attending the partner training for McCorma Payment Hub for Business Central so that we can know how to use it, know how to configure it, hopefully, know how to support it. And we will likely start selling it pretty soon because we have customers who want some of the features in McCorma Payment Hub. Specifically, numero uno is the overflow remittance. So they have developed their own custom Business Central accounts payable or payment remittance that handles overflow. And we have several customers in the US who print 20, 30, 50, 100 line item remittances for their payables payments. And they absolutely need that. And we have fought with the Business Central remittance document check format with remittance. It is an absolute nightmare. So McCorma has taken the bullet for us, rebuilt the customer remittance, and we are excited to sell that. So check that out if you are a partner. And Dynamics Con regionals, regional meetups coming up in Ghana is tomorrow. So head on over to Accra, Ghana, and attend the meetup on July 19th. Kenya in Nairobi, July 24th and 25th. They have a great user group community there. Denver, August 21st. Dublin, Ohio, August 26th and 27th. And Dallas, September 17th. And I haven't checked these dates in a couple weeks, so definitely double check them when you go to sign up and confirm they are still going on those dates. And today, Friday, Viernes, my daughter and I, my cybersecurity intern and scholarship award winner, will be working on the SonicWall cloud services, specifically the Capture Client and Cloud Secure Edge, which you see highlighted there. And looking to get that configured. Capture Client having policies in place, and Cloud Secure Edge get policies in place for enforcement of those endpoints and VPN connections, and then Capture Client, figure out how to configure that, the SentinelOne rules, how to enforce policies, and just learn how that's going to work. So that's what's on the tap for today. Summit and A road shows. We have Seattle coming up next week, July 22nd, Madison August 12th, and Nashville August 14th. And once again, double check those dates. I have not checked them recently. Moving on to the ERP Center of Excellence. We have busy with Business Central, as always. We have excellence updates here. Jocelyn is joining Tanya for customer training all week. We have a new big Business Central implementation, several weeks of training. This is the first week of training with the users to get them oriented. So Jocelyn and David are both attending that to learn the ropes on that. And Jocelyn continues to work with Power BI, and she is also still working with a check layout. And let me just try to turn off these annoying notifications. Okay, and so still learning Power BI, and she is fighting with a check layout. And it seems that it is always interesting when customers come with a check layout and they say, oh, this is our old check layout. And we look at that and we think it looks pretty standard. But then we realize there's a field or two that is different. And we're like, huh, makes sense. But Business Central simply does not have the field. So the choice is get rid of the field on your new Business Central checks, or you have to do a report extension if you want to have that field. So we just ran into that again. The customer has totals on their remittance that Business Central does not have. So we are going to find out whether they really want those or whether they can live without them. David is attending the customer training with Tanya. He's continuing to work on configuration packages and data loads and data migrations. We are going to work on a telemetry, enabling telemetry for customers. We're a little behind on that, but we have a customer who needs it, so we're going to get that set up. Ronald is now certified on Continua document capture. He completed the training and he is working on the implementation for a customer. And we figured out the Continua partner zone. He's figured out how to submit support tickets, and he is working through some of the quirks of getting document capture to detect fields on odd invoices and getting the GL accounts mapped. And Franklin had completed a customer PTE, at which point the customer immediately had a change request before we even delivered it. And so that is done, and we are now fighting with DevOps pipelines, which are a bit of a hassle. So seeing how tedious it is to get all of our pipelines set up in DevOps and just get them configured consistently, I have asked our senior dev if we can script and automate the repository pipeline, everything set up. We have Cosmo Alpaca for much of the setup, but there's still a lot of manual steps that need to be done in order to configure our separate pipelines and get everything set up properly. So it's quite tedious. So I'm looking to get that automated so we do not have to touch that manually. And Berlin updates. Well, let's celebrate, folks. Those of you who have not lived in El Salvador may not appreciate the significance of this photo. Thank you, David, for making this happen, and our electrician slash plumber. This is our new 2,500 liter water tank for the office, and that is a custom-made platform. That is the fancy tan Rotoplus tank, and that white PVC is the municipal water line that is feeding our tank. And below that tank, you may notice a green or teal pump. That is our 25 liter, 24 liter, something like that, 1.1 horsepower pump that is providing pressure to the house, and it is all hooked up. All new tank, all new pump, all new piping throughout the entire house. We are good to go. So we are extra fancy. Except when the power goes out, in which case we will have no water pressure. So that'll be the next adventure that we have to work through. And thank you, David. He got the new doorbell installed on our front gate. So in El Salvador, it's very common to have a gate in front of the house. We have a nice driveway and a big metal gate. So the challenge is when people show up, they'd have to knock on the gate. We wouldn't hear it. And so lots of deliveries or even lunch delivery to the house. So we now have a video doorbell with a chime in the office. So people can come, press the doorbell, we can see them, and super chivo, as the kids say, chivissimo. And we have received the soccer jerseys for FC El Coyolar. And so that is David's soccer team at the local soccer field. So the ERP Center of Excellence has sponsored 2 team jerseys, and these are less expensive, just day-to-day practice and game jerseys that they'll be using. So we sponsored 2 sets of jerseys for the entire team, 28 sets of jerseys and shorts. So That is pretty cool. We are representing on the soccer pitch. And Berlin English Academy, another community service effort that we sponsor. In the office, Ronald is leading the charge with the Berlin English Academy, which is what we're calling an advanced English and job training program to help Berliners continue their English language learning with American pronunciation and accent training, call center prep, conversational training, and preparing them for to apply for seasonal call center jobs that they can have remotely. So that is the group of 6, and sometimes Franklin attends for 7. So they are now doing kind of team exercises to practice certain things. And thank you. Oops, sorry, Ronald. I was covering you up. Ronald is leading the charge on that, and I think they are meeting 2 or 3 times a week as part of the Berlin English Academy program, sponsored at our office in Berlin. So that is super cool. Nice air-conditioned space where they can study and learn a couple nights a week. So that is it. That was kind of a quick summary of the crazy times of the last week. And this is another fun graphic from the Sonic Wall Cloud dashboard. And this shows the various levels and layers of security. And when I took this, I was at DEF CON 2, but I have been upgraded to the lower status of DEF CON 3, fortunately. So we'll take a look at this and see what else we need to do to stay away from thermonuclear cyber war, or whatever this represents. It's kind of funny. So anyway, I hope you all are having a good week and go learn something. Go learn some Business Central stuff and build something. Okay, have a good one. Que tengas un buen fin de semana. Okay, adios.
Good morning, sun. How are you? Skies above.